Welcome to the Primo's Musings podcast.
Good morning. This is Sri Primo with a quick review of preview of the French Open women's draw. The French Open women's draw has a power-packed entry as always, and you have the only thing which is slightly different from last year is that Iga Swiatek, who has dominated the French Open 4 out of 5 times, she's actually outside of the top four. So you have Sabalenka as a 1 seed, and then you have Paolini as a 4 seed, and then you got or the 2 seed would be Coco Gauff, and then you have 3 seed is Jessica Pegula. So this is probably in a long time that you're seeing Swiatek out of the top four, especially when it comes to one of our favorite tournaments. So let's get down to the way I'm going to do this format is that I'll pick obviously the pre-quarterfinals, and then that would be the top 16, and then the quarterfinals, the semifinals, and the finalists, and then eventual winner. But before I get to each of those, there are very key matchups, even the first and second round, and you look up and say, how is this even possible? Of course, that's based on the current form of some of these players. So I'm going to split it into 4 different brackets. Let's start with the Sabalenka bracket, then we'll do the bracket for Paolini bracket, then we'll do the bracket for Pegula, and then the Coco Gauff bracket. So those are the 4 different brackets that you have based on the top 4 seeds. In the Sabalenka bracket, I don't think Sabalenka should have any problems going into many of these rounds. So I'll hold for Sabalenka. But the key matchup that you're going to see in the second round, and this is going to be a great matchup between an ex-US Open finalist, Leylah Fernandez, and last year's breakout player, Daniela Collins, who has been playing unbelievable. I mean, this is obviously not her favorite surface, but I think that you can look for a great second round matchup between Daniela Collins and Leylah Fernandez. Similarly, in that bracket, you're going to have another very interesting bracket with Qinwen Zheng, I mean, she is actually a gold medalist, as we know from the Olympics last year, and she recently beat Sabalenka in the Rome Open. So great form, and she's going to be playing Alexandriella. Watch out for this player. She's going to be a superstar in the future. And there's also another interesting matchup between the current Rome Open champion Paolini and Tomljanovic. And I think a lot of you may remember Ajla Tomljanovic. She was featured in the Netflix series with Berrettini. They've since broken up, but I think she also had a signature win in the U.S. Open against Serena Williams. So I remember that match pretty well. It was a night match. So that's a very key, interesting matchup in the second round between Paolini and Tomljanovic. And then this is probably the one that really kind of surprised me. Iga, I think we talked about Iga. She's won the last 4 out of 5. Probably one of the best players, but currently uh, she has run into some problems. I mean, just can't get through in some of the big wins as well. And she should have an easy win over Shramkova in the first round, but the second round match is what really impressed me. It could either be Emma Raducanu or Wang Zhu, but I'm actually thinking this matchup between um, two major champions in the second round itself you're going to see. We'll get to the third round because she's going to have a very tough round. I mean, she's even if she gets past Emma, she's actually have Kostuk waiting for her, and Kostuk has been someone who's been really a big problem for her as well. So there we are with Iga there. So let's quickly go down to um, the other one. I mean, even Rybakina could be there, but it could be a Rybakina or Ostapenko. So, and we know Ostapenko's record against Iga Swiatek. It's 6-0, which it just blows my mind away. And then in the other one where you have in the bracket, I was talking about the Pegula bracket. You do have a very first round interesting matchup between Paula Badosa and another major champion, Naomi Osaka. So that's another one which really surprised me to play. I mean, Paula has been battling injuries, and let's see if Osaka. I mean, she actually had a very good comeback in 2024, but I'm actually thinking that this. I mean, clay court is not one of her favorite surfaces. She's more a hardcore player. She's, I'm sure she'll be a big star in the U.S. Open, but I do think that Badosa will have no problems with her as well. Then the other one was the Wimbledon winner, Wondrosa. She's actually going to be, she's in the first round. I mean, she's not ranked this time. Her potentially she could meet Pegula, but I don't think she gets there to meet Pegula. I mean, I think she's going to fall to Magdalena. That's my prediction. Karolina Muchova and Sakkari. That's another interesting second round matchup. I did see Sakkari again. She was also in that Netflix series. Not been playing well. Um, she's actually not even ranked, but Muchova's ranked, and she's actually won this before. So I do feel that Muchova will move on when you think about the battle as well. So other than that, there was another interesting, a couple of interesting names I saw that Azarenka there who could potentially get into a third round matchup with Madison Keys. So that's something that look forward to. And then you have um, Barbara Krejcikova who won the Wimbledon, and she has a potential matchup. I think that is more on the pre quarterfinals. But then a lot of good players in the round. I mean, you have a lot of good second round, third round matchups that you're going to see. The one which was really interested was the Navarro Haddad matchup. Navarro has been playing quite solid lately, and then you got the Badosa Casatina in the round as well. But one person I will mention is that who's actually been playing very well in 2025 is that Andreeva Maria Andreeva, who's been playing very well in 2025. So look for her to to move in a very good manner in this French Open. I definitely think that she's ranked number 6, and she's won 27 and 7, 83% winning rate, and it's been outstanding. Her rapid rise to the rankings. I mean, she won like 2 WTA titles, one in Dubai, and of course, we all know the the Indian Wells as well. And she's the winningest player in the first part of the season. Believe it or not, I mean, you would have never thought about it. She had a great win against Swiatek in Dubai. She beat Rebekina also in Dubai, actually twice. She beat her in Dubai as well as in Indian Wells. And of course, she beat Sabalenka in the Indian Wells final. So amazing to see the rise of Andreeva. And in this current year, she did have, in the Australian Open, she did reach the fourth round, but of course she lost there to Sabalenka. So it's a nice revenge for her in the Indian Wells. Um, and she was a quarterfinalist at both the clay court tournaments in Madrid and in Rome. So number 6 ranking, win loss record for clay court. She's got like 7-3. So um, there she is right now. So these are my predictions in terms of the pre-quarterfinals. Let's get to the pre-quarterfinals. You have the third round potential matchup you have between Sabalenka and Daniela Collins. So that would be a good test for Sabalenka. But I know she recently lost to Qinwen Zheng in the Rome Open, but she won the Madrid Open. So I don't see any uh, problems for Sabalenka to move on. So let's get down to my top 16, um, who I think would finish in the top 16 in this year's French Open. Let's talk about in the Sabalenka bracket. So I think Kvitova, that's good for her, for Kvitova to come back. I mean, it's been a while. She's not played, um, uh, in a long, long time. So good to see her back on the court. She's going to have some tough time. I think she plays Anna Samoa in the first round on Towson, who was actually in the final, if I'm not mistaken, in one of the things. But I think that her record so far has not been great, but good to see her to come back as well. She's ranked way out, so I actually see her falling in the second round. So I think it's going to be a Sabalenka and Towson. Those are the two players I'm going to be picking for the pre-quarterfinals, and then Schneider, Diana Schneider, and Quinn Wen will face off in the other pre-quarterfinal. Um, and then in the other one would be Svetlina. I mean, she's consistent as people can get. Never sleep on Svetlina. She's a fighter. She always plays hard. And I forgot to mention, of course, Monfils. We'll talk about Monfils later, but Svetlina has been playing amazing. And I think she has a tough round in the third round with Donna Vicic, but I do think that she would get past her, and she'll set up a good matchup between her and Paolini. And then I was very conflicted in the picking between Rybakina and Ostapenko. Uh, because I think you know who their who they're going to play eventually. That's going to be fun. Actually, you know what? That third round matchup, if you look in that bracket, it's Iga and Maria Kostuk, and then Ostapenko and Rybakina. So I was quite conflicted with that. I mean, considering Iga's current form, but I do think that Iga, once she sets her foot on the surface, once she knows that she's been the most dominant player on that surface in the last 5 years, I have a feeling that Iga will put on her jets and she will be uh, playing really hard. I think the losses definitely has had a toll on her, but I have a feeling that Iga will bounce back strongly and move on to the pre-quarterfinals, and then it's going to be she's going to play the winner of Rybakina and Ostapenko. Who would Iga truly want? I would think she would truly want Rybakina there. Ostapenko has been a thorn on her side, 6-0 against Iga, which I've never seen anything like this in tennis, both on the men's and the women's side, especially when you look at Ostapenko is, around 2021, 2021. And for someone like Ostapenko, for a 21 ranked player to dominate one of the best players in the world is something that I've never seen, both in the men's and the women's, as I was mentioning. So I have a feeling it's going to be an Ostapenko and Iga pre-quarterfinal, and Svetlina and Paolini. I'm going to pick Paolini there, and then I would pick Sabalenka playing against Quinn Wen in the quarterfinal, and then Iga will get her first win over Ostapenko. I mean, I know it's a matchup problem. I know the history is against her. It's a law of averages thing. I don't know if there's something uh, mentally that she cannot just overcome against Ostapenko, but I have a feeling that I'm a strong believer in Iga, and Iga will um, beat Ostapenko in 3 sets. It's not going to be easy at all, and move on to the quarterfinals. So one set to set, Sabalenka Quinwen. That's another rematch that just recently happened, and then Paolini was Ziga. And then on the other side of things, I like I mentioned about Andreeva. I spent a lot of time on her. I mean, rising star, and I have a feeling that she will move on to play against. Well, I think Pegula has actually a tough match against Muhova, especially on the surface. I was debating picking Muhova, but I think I'm going to go with Pegula. Pegula is world number 3 right now, so it's a Pegula and an Andreeva matchup. And then it's a very interesting in the bottom half there. You actually see an All American affair between Madison Keys and Navarro. I mean, Keys very good on the hard court surface. I'm not sure how she's going to fare against Navarro on clay. I'm going to give a slight edge to Navarro there. So that's going to be Navarro. And then Coco plays. There's a battle of two major champions, Krejcikova, who won the Wimbledon, and Coco Gauff, who won the US Open. And I do believe that Coco is coming off another final against, she lost to Paolini in the Rome Open. And I think Coco and Navarro, another All American matchup in the quarterfinals, and Andreeva and Pegula. So you're going to have 3 of the 4 Americans in the bottom half of the draw, and that's would be very cool if that happens. And that's what I think would happen, but let's see what happens. In the Now let's get to the quarterfinal matchups. Sabalenka and Qinwen, and this is something that we were talking about earlier. Um, uh, Sabalenka and Qinwen had a great battle recently with Qinwen winning against her. Um, I think in 2025, when I look at their records in 2025 head to head, I think Sabalenka has actually won 6 and Zhang has won 1. The only time Zhang beat her was on the Italian Open recently in the quarterfinals. That's her first win. Sabalenka is dominant on all surfaces. I don't think, and when Rome was where Zhang finally broke through. She actually won the Olympic gold medalist right here. But uh, it's really, but I think I have a feeling that if they meet in the quarterfinals, I think I'm giving the slight edge to Sabalenka here, just because her record is solid against her. So we'll have Sabalenka moving on to the semifinals. Quickly going down to Paolini, who just I think beating Ostapenko. That's a huge thing. But then let's get to the other one between Swiatek and Paolini. They've faced 4 times, and Swiatek has a perfect record against Paolini. So this is another. It's a reverse for Iga Swiatek. She's 0-6 against Ostapenko, but she's 4-0 against Paolini. And the recent, actually on the French Open, when you look at their French Open record, she actually won against Paolini 6-2, 6-1 to claim her fourth Roland Garros title. But I do think that Paolini's been playing well. She won the Italian Open. She's definitely going on a high. And I think she's controlled the matches on. Her powers and movement have completely overrun Paolini, and I'm hoping Paolini can get through here. So I have Paolini moving against Iga again. So I have 2 back-to-back matches where I'm picking. I'm going the other way, where I'm picking Iga against Ostapenko for someone who has not beaten Ostapenko, and I'm picking Paolini or Iga for someone who has not beaten Iga. So we have Sabalenka and Paolini in one half. Then you get to um, the next one between Pegula and Andreeva. And I just mentioned about Andreeva, who has played unbelievable. Her record this year um, has been excellent. But when I look at the head-to-head, this is going to be the first matchup, I believe. I don't think they've ever played each other. So, and I could be wrong, but I definitely think they probably played in a doubles match. I was looking at my research, but when I look at Andreeva and Pegula, I have a feeling that Andreeva is a much better player on clay, and I have a feeling that Andreeva will uh, uh, beat Pegula and move on uh, to the semifinals. And then we get to the All American matchup between Coco and Emma Navarro. And uh, Navarro actually defeated twice in major tournaments. I mean, we remember she defeated her in the Wimbledon, and then in the fourth round as well, she defeated Coco Gauff. So Coco has actually suffered two losses against her, against Navarro, in 2024, and both in the majors. So this could be a great revenge tour for Coco. And the one thing that'll worry me with Coco, and I think I've mentioned it before, is her double falls. I think she had so many double falls in all the matches. She had 16 double falls in one match in the Rome Open. She struggled a little bit against Paolini, uh, even in the final. So I have a feeling that's going to be a little doubt for me. But I don't think I think once she gets her serve in, I have a feeling that she will beat Navarro on that. So here's my semifinals. Here you got the Navarro, Coco and Andreeva in one half, and you got Sabalenka and Paolini. So let's go to Coco and Andreeva. This is a great matchup. I mean, as good as it can get. One is only, I think Coco is only 20, 21 years old, and then you got Andreeva, who's just younger than 18. So this is going to be a great matchup, great rivalry they've had. Interestingly, Coco and Riva, Coco has dominated Andreeva 4-0 as of May. I think Goff defeated Andreeva in the Madrid Open, and even in the quarterfinals in Rome, she defeated Andreeva. So if she continues, like I said, her serve, she fixes her serve, she takes them, she avoids double falls, hits her topspin, clean forehand. And I think that's what troubled Andreeva in the match. She tried to risk a lot of them, but she could not get over Coco. I do feel that in this battle, especially in a major, as it is, it's a great accomplishment for Andreeva to get to the semifinal. I do think that Coco will beat Andreeva and move on to the final. And then we get down to Sabalenka and Paolini. And that's going to be the battle. That's great. I mean, you have two winners of the last two tournaments. One, Sabalenka won the Madrid Open, and Paolini won the Rome Open. And Sabalenka leads their head-to-head record. I think 3-2, I believe. There was one thing that she did. Oh, yeah, they did play each other in Stuttgart, and that's another win Sabalenka had. And Sabalenka defeated. It was a very tough match. She defeated Paolini there, and then in the Miami Open too, she won very decisive. That's on a different surface altogether. And Sabalenka actually has a 2-0 record against Paolini um, in the French Open. So I have a feeling that head to head, Sabalenka leads all. She checks all the checks. I mean, she's probably one of the best. She hits the ball so hard, and I don't think Paulini will give her a battle, but I think it's going to be. I have a feeling it's going to be like 3-4 kind of thing. So then we have the final set. It's Sabalenka and Coco Gauff, and let's see how this will turn out. I mean, Coco, as I mentioned, not a great clay court player, and Sabalenka has been playing well. She's got a bunch of victories. Funny that head to head, Coco actually leads Sabalenka head to head. But on this surface, when I look at this surface itself, um, Sabalenka defeated Gauff to claim the Madrid title. I think it's 5-5 right now. Yeah, because of that, I think. And then um, Sabalenka is world number one. She's raised her level. Like I said, Coco, the one thing I would say is her serves. Sabalenka has the more power, aggression, and very strong serves. And Gauff is very athletic. That's one thing that she can maybe help her. And the speed, she's got the ability to counterpunch. She could easily redirect pace. The one thing is that she's got a very strong resilience. But once the serve starts going haywire, she kind of loses some confidence. So that's something she has to watch for. And I have a feeling that based on current trends, I do feel that it's going to be Sabalenka claiming her fourth championship, the fourth major, I would say. So Sabalenka's would take home the Susan Legman Trophy, um, and that would be another new feather in her cap. So Sabalenka beats Coco to lift the trophy, gets another Grand Slam. She has done, as we know, she's actually been in five, so she'll be in six. This will be a sixth one. She's got three titles. She's got two Australian Opens and one U.S. Open, and she lost to Coco Gauff, obviously in the U.S. Open, different surface, and then she lost the Australian to Madison Keys, who won the tournament. So Sabalenka wins the trophy, and that's where I think it'll end. And this was my first full women's tourney recap. So really looking forward to the feedback, and thanks again. Have a good rest of the day, and looking forward to this tournament on Monday. Have a good day.
Thank you for listening. Primo will be back soon.